Mark your calendars for June 8th, 2016. It's not just another reunion. Connect, re-engage, and please, come as you are.
We walked into Williams at the very end of an era and the very beginning of a new era.
It was a time of great change. I mean, the fraternities were on their way out.
They had just gotten rid of compulsory chapel, and the Vietnam War came huge. There was a new multidisciplinary science center, the Bronfman Center, that was going up. They were going to do environmental studies.
I love the college. I love the friends I had at Williams. They're my closest friends in life. I stay in touch with them.
It's really a very proud thing to be able to say, I went to Williams College.
There are a lot of traditions around the 50th, and the class of 66 is rallying together to create a permanent legacy through a collective gift to the college. Our class gift looks to the future of Williams with two exciting initiatives.
Number one, our class will be endowing a Summer Opportunities Fund. This will allow students on financial aid to pursue their education year-round. But we'll talk more about this separately.
Our second and most ambitious gift initiative is the renovation and expansion of the 1794 Kellogg House into a totally new and carbon-neutral environmental center. This innovative building will serve as headquarters for the Center for Environmental Studies and the Zilka Center for Environmental Initiatives.
We had a presentation from the building committee that was involved in the decision to try to do a living building. And once that was explained, we got kind of excited about it. I mean, this resonates in lots of different ways.
What we discovered was that the idea of the building somehow seemed to fit our class very well.
The new center will be a living demonstration of the best thinking in green design and a resource for the study of practical solutions to environmental problems.
What excites me is it's the bringing together of the curricular with the practical, and it's this combination that's going to position Williams as the leader in undergraduate environmental education and institutional sustainability. And on top of all this building could carry our class's name, the Class of 1966 Environmental Center.
And when you think about that, and think at the same time about how the world has changed, this becomes, in my view, a particularly relevant contribution to the Williams experience. I do feel passionately about that.
As with all such projects, we do them in partnership. And the most important partnership is the partnership with our alumni who support the college so generously. The class of 1966 has shown extraordinary leadership, first in understanding how important this project is to us, and then in stepping up in extraordinary ways to make it possible.
We're partnering with the college to do something new, something different, and something very important.
Over the last 15 years, the American Green Building Council has made LEED certification standard practice for environmentally sensitive design.
LEED used to be cutting edge, but it's not so much anymore. Globally, there are tens of thousands of completed building projects that are at some stage of LEED certification. The wonderful new Sawyer Library, as an example, is being completed to the LEED Gold standard.
In 2007, the Living Future Institute looked beyond LEED to the highest level of sustainable design as it launched the Living Building Challenge, a next generation in sustainable design. A successful building project must create as much or more power on site as it uses, provide and treat all water on site, and it must use no carcinogenic materials, and at the same time, the mandate states that it must be a beautiful place to live, work, and play.
There are 19 requirements. The really challenging ones have to do with energy, water, and materials. In energy, it's a matter of producing as much or more power on site over the course of a year than was used. It's proved through utility bills.
They also have a requirement that all water be collected on site and disposed of on site. Easy to understand, but not so easy to achieve.
One of the hardest parts to articulate about Living Building Challenge has to do with the materials requirements. So if we think about lead, or we think about arsenic, or we think about certain types of plastics, they're simply harmful. It's harmful to make them, it's harmful to use them, and it's harmful to dispose of them. So Living Building Challenge has defined what they call a red list. These are absolutely prohibited materials.
It's not just the building, it's the environs, it's how the building develops and is used. The building becomes really a metaphor for a living organism.
The concepts of the living building look backward and forward. Let's get rid of some of these toxic materials. That's not necessarily been a good outcome for the 20th century and the 21st century. Let's look backward and do some self-sufficiency, but let's do it with 21st century technology.
Kellogg House has been home to the Center for Environmental Studies for over 30 years. Built in 1794 on Main Street, it housed the first 4 Williams presidents.
The Center for Environmental Studies encountered it when we moved there in the late 1970s.
Environmental studies is, by definition, interdisciplinary, and we've always had our own building because we're independent of any one department.
As Williams evolved, Kellogg House was always preserved, but it was moved around several times.
And this will be the 4th move for this building.
It's a beautiful colonial structure.
And it's a real testament to saving and reusing. Jack Sawyer created the Center for Environmental Studies in 1967, and it's among the oldest environmental studies programs in the country.
With that half-century of history, we've consistently been in a position of leadership in education around environmental studies, and that's been driven in part by intense faculty interest in the subject, but it's also been driven by intense student interest in the subject.
Over 30 member faculty are involved with our programs, and they're in every different department at the college. Not only do they teach cross-listed courses, but they serve as advisors to the different majors in the program. They can serve as thesis advisors.
The weekly lunches around environmental issues that happen at the Log involve students and faculty and townspeople together.
I've been at the Center for Environmental Studies since 1970. I think the Environmental Studies program today is better than it's ever been before. It's more interdisciplinary. The students are incredibly serious about why they are engaged in this interdisciplinary, often confusing, often ambiguous enterprise.
So the new Environmental Center will serve as the home for the Center for Environmental Studies and as the base for its faculty and places for its majors to work.
The new Class of '66 Environmental Center will also house the Zilka Center for Environmental Initiatives. The Zilka Center was formed in 2007, and it's committed to reducing the environmental impact of campus facilities and operations.
The Zilka Center is concerned everywhere on campus about lowering the college's carbon footprint, saving the college money along the way.
We have reduced our consumption of energy on campus by 25%. We're saving about $1.6 million a year in utility costs.
By being together in this one building, it's really going to strengthen both of our programs.
And that bringing together of the curricular and the practical in one place, in one set of students, in one new, very exciting facility, which itself will have an educational mission, is one of the most exciting things that I can imagine doing here at Williams around this complex of incredibly important issues.
Reaching the net zero energy, net zero water requirements of the Living Building Challenge may be experimental, but where better to push the boundaries of environmental design than at Williams?
We talk about being a leader in sustainability, learning for the 21st century, and I think this is really just the embodiment of that.
Having a Center for Environmental Studies, again, centrally located, directly next to the new library, which is intended to be a real focus for the college right across from Peresky, which will be the other student focus. I think it's going to be a very natural place for people to to congregate.
Not everybody's going to be majoring in environmental science. Everybody's going to walk by that building 3 times a day.
Williams is at the forefront of environmental education, so it makes sense that we would also be at the forefront of environmental design.
We're already getting a lot of favorable response from the Living Building Institute on this project. This will be a big deal.
And you need something that's going to fire people up, students, faculty, community people, about sustainability, about environmental problem solving. You know, I think this is just the thing to do it. We're grateful to the class of '66 for providing this opportunity.
As I go around the country and I meet prospective students, so many of them are interested in this question. How does the college engage the issues of sustainability and the environment? And while I certainly am in a position to talk in compelling ways about our curriculum and our faculty and our great history, having a building which is out front, on the cutting edge, that's trying to do something that's never been done before, that excites students. And that building is going to help us tell that story every single day.
Imagine that once this building is complete, there will be no electric bills. There will be no fuel bills. That's a big deal.
This is not about just building another building. This is about building a new kind of building.
I don't think the risk is in doing it. I think the risk is in not doing it.
The educational value of a living building on the Williams campus will be profound.
When you live and work in a building like this, it changes your perception. Having a place that recognizes that and understands that, it'll multiply the capacity of students to learn.
It really makes everything concrete and really immediate, which a lot of environmental issues, they're global. People think about, oh, it's not happening here, or it's really hard for people to connect immediately with environmental issues. So that's a very cool aspect of this building.
It's about the broader messages and the implications, whether it involves business or worldwide politics or the realities of environmental impacts. There are a wide variety of topics that springboard out of the initial discussion, which is the building itself.
We fell in love with the idea of a living building and what that would do to reposition Williams at the forefront of environmental studies.
The wonderful thing about this building is it allows us to practice what we teach. Thanks to the class of '66, Williams will not just be educating students on how to solve environmental problems, but Williams itself will be part of the solution.
What excites me about this is not just a building. We're educating a unique set of students, and when they go out into the world, they're going to have a huge impact on people and people's lives.
This sense that everything that was going on in the 60s with a different sort of way of thinking about the relationship between people and the environment, and the way that that was beginning to happen with different ideas about food and about agriculture is really coming back now, and that's what I think so many people in my generation are passionate about. So to have people from a class that really began that movement supporting our new sort of experiment and new steps with that movement now, I think just makes such perfect sense, and I'm so grateful that we have the opportunity to make that connection.
It's not just a project of the Williams of the century to come, it's a project in which the Williams of the last 50 years is deeply, deeply committed and deeply, deeply invested. It's that partnership that excites me about this project as much as any other element of it.
When our name goes up on that building, Class of 1966 Environmental Center, it's going to make me so proud. Even now, it almost brings tears, or it does, brings tears to my eyes.
Connect, re-engage, and please, come as you are.
Depressing. The latest figures are a little bit distressing. So what you say if we let it slide for a day, darling? What you say? I get the word from Arthur, my brother. He says, sell it all, son, and stick to purpose. What you say?